I was thinking about trying out for Joe's next Christmas pageant. I was kind of jealous of the tenors yesterday. I was like, oh, I could maybe get back in the swing of things, but maybe with one little stroke here, like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right. Not really warmed up, You all made me stay up too late last night, whatever. But I think Andy Williams kind of gives me like a mild panic attack when I hear that song, because there's children ringing bells. No offense, kids, but we don't need you ringing bells. You're good, okay? And then every quote, everyone telling you be of good cheer. It just seems like a lot of expectation this time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all. Like decaf, Andy. Like, okay, I saw you down in Branson. You did a good job, right? But in the middle of all of this, I think this time of year there's this real tug of war for our hearts, because we're trying our very best to be of good cheer, to have a great Christmas, to be with our family members and friends, to make sure that Santa has a great place to come with the milk and cookies and just everything just so. But what if in your heart you don't feel that? What if you don't feel like you can hit the notes? When you said I was hired, I thought you said higher, and it should have been higher, just like a little step. But in the middle of that, like to think about the pressure. And I think oftentimes there are some people more than others that maybe experience this. I think moms, wives, maybe daughters trying to live up to those expectations that mom either is or is not suggesting that they carry on, right? And making sure everything is just so Currier and Ives, that everything makes you look good, and that's where your worth lies in. Yikes. Maybe we just need to check that. Or students, what about finals, right? You are your grade in this course. Is that true? It's not. You believe that sometimes in your head, but in this time of year, as you're trying to get everything together, it seems like it might just be too much. And so I think Jesus, as he longs to be born into our lives, and that's why we have this season of Advent, wants us during this Advent season to take a breath and to say, look, it's okay if it's not the happiest season of all for you. It doesn't mean you have to be Scrooge, yeah? It doesn't mean you have to take it out on all the other people, like Tiny Tim, who's just trying to get through and be able to have what joy they can, right? You don't have to be a Grinch about it, but you can recognize that there's something about this, not just this season, but this life that's missing. That's why our readings in the second week of Advent are talking about the peace that Jesus brings, which, quote Dr. Seuss, can't be bought in a store. But Christmas means something more because he, Christ's birth, is the one that wants to bring it. He's the one that wants not just for him to be born into our reality now as his sons and daughters, but wants to journey with us to heaven, wants to be the one to accompany us and to help us to choose day in day, not just to be of good cheer, but to be his disciples, to help people to understand the reason for our joy is long-lasting and fulfilling. I think that gives me a little bit more encouragement. That gives me comfort. Comfort, oh my people. What's the word comfort mean? That last part in Latin means like fortify. It means to be made strong. And not a stiff upper lip like, everything's fine, yeah, great, Merry Christmas. But instead, to be able to say that I'm strong in the reality that I don't have to do it alone, that I don't have to bear this journey by myself. I hope, whether you're in a good space or maybe a not so good space, that you can find encouragement from Jesus being the one to satisfy your heart. Because I think maybe there's a third category, which is, I don't know, I'm just kind of going through life and things are fine. Maybe if you're in that category, let's wake up a little bit. Wake up to the truth that we're just being advertised to all the time, and that's fine if we can separate the difference between advertisement and truth, beauty and goodness. if we can notice what it is that motivates us to act or not to act, and then to be able to see Jesus as one of the people that's beckoning us to make his message known. That's why John the Baptist, who's always just seems like he's a grump, but he's just so convicted. He's like, prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight his paths. Get stuff out of the way that needs to go so that Jesus has a straight path to walk right through, right into our hearts, to be our conquering king, to be the one that shows us how humility and truth and justice are things that we can celebrate and can bring us true gladness and rejoicing. No matter what's happening in the world, the divisions, the wars, the atrocities, that we can continue to say, yes, and yet, our God has come to save us and has equipped us with the message of that peace. You know, some of us are in the intergenerational book club that meets after Mass, and as I was doing the reading for this week, I just thought in The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe that there was something that was beautiful that Aslan allows, and I'm not spoiling it. If you didn't do the reading, you didn't do the reading, okay? And if you haven't read the book, well then, I'm sorry. But there's this moment that I just like to read to you because it really struck me. Aslan, dear Aslan, said Lucy, what is wrong? Can't you tell us? Are you ill, dear Aslan? Asked Susan. No, said Aslan, I am sad and lonely. Lay your hands on my mane so that I can feel you are there, and let us walk like that. And so the girls did what they would never have dared to do without his permission. But what they had longed to do ever since they first saw him, buried their cold hands in the beautiful sea of fur and stroked it. So doing, walked with him. Aslan is the king. He's this big, powerful, majestic beast who has come to save them from the evils of the witch. And these two daughters of Eve who are trying their best to be with this great, great king in the midst of his misery. They don't know why he's sad, but they follow him, and they just long to comfort him. Does God need comfort? I think if he is born into poverty and lowliness and obscurity, then if he's like us in everything but sin, then Jesus feels these things. Jesus feels sadness and sorrow. And Jesus longs, just like Aslan does, to be comforted by you, his dear friends, who see him there sad on a cross, see him born in a sad cave, and by what you say and do and how you live your lives, even the hidden things, even those things that no one else notices, you can bring comfort to our God. And I think that's just something beautiful for us to think about. That Christmas isn't just about what we receive, but it's about what it is that we're able to give. And oftentimes, on his very birthday, we forget to give Jesus a gift. We're busy with everybody else and making sure that they're satisfied. But what about our Creator and our friend? So I'd just like you to pray about that. What is it that I can do as a gift for Jesus? How is it that I can give comfort to our King that is sorrowing that there's so much sadness in this world that he didn't cause, but longs to be able to do away with? How is it that maybe I do my good works, might be able to help to build up the kingdom of God, to comfort it, to fortify it? And then other people might be able to find refuge in Jesus too, just like we have. I don't know, maybe it is the happiest season of all if we look at it with that kind of attitude and that lens of faith. And so as we're able to have this time in celebrating a Mass together, I just pray that we can really enter into the beauty of what Jesus does in laying down his life for us. And then maybe as we're going through Mass, not just to let it be something that we do week after week, but to actually have a conversation with Jesus. Jesus, here's what's going on in my life. Jesus, thank you for loving me. Jesus, how can I comfort you? Jesus, who are the ones that need comforting? I think that's how we can be on the road, the very straight and narrow road on the way to Christmas. Please rise.